are the stories topping the news. The Republic of China Taiwan celebrates its 103rd National Day. United Nations still wants to probe despite Duvalier's death. And same-sex marriage legal in Idaho, Nevada. Good afternoon and welcome to ZIZ Midday newscast for Wednesday, October 8, 2014. I'm Kyla Berridge. Now the news in detail. The Republic of China Taiwan is preparing to celebrate its 103rd National Day, and the celebratory activities have spread to St. Kitts. This evening at 7 p.m., Resident Ambassador His Excellency Miguel Tao and his wife will host a reception and concert at the St. Kitts Eco Park in Newton Ground. Meantime, the communications unit in the Office of the Prime Minister is saluting the solid relationship with its Asian ally through the publishing of information on the political, social, economic, and social development of Taiwan. The Department of Statistics and Economic Planning, Ministry of Finance in Nevis Island Administration will be joining other Caribbean islands to commemorate Caribbean Statistical Day on October 15th. During the 6th observance of Caribbean Statistics Day in the Caribbean community, CARICOM, awareness is aimed at recognizing the vital role of statistics in improving the daily lives of people across the region. The theme this year is Data Revolution for Sustainable Development of CARICOM, designing and operationalizing a framework for statistics. In keeping with the theme, the Department of Statistics and Economic Planning has organized a fair called Careers in Statistics. The fair is an educational drive designed to inform the public about why the Department and Statistics and Economic Planning collect statistics. Invited guests will include students from the primary and secondary schools and the Sixth Form College. A group of concerned Nevisians, mainly members and supporters of the Nevis Reformation Party (NRP), has collaborated to host a protest march titled Families for Better Nevis. According to the event's organizers, the march is scheduled for Friday, October 10th at 10 a.m. and is expected to demonstrate residents' disappointment in the levels of crime, victimization, and nepotism on the island. In recent months, supporters of the NRP, Nevis's opposition party, have called into several radio programs and claimed that they or members of their families have been victimized because of their political affiliation. On August 26th, ZIZ Television featured an interview with former producer at the Nevis Island Administration's Department of Information, Corey Tyson, who suggested that he too was terminated because of his political affiliation. Members of the governing Concerned Citizens Movement, CCM, have continued to claim that Nevisians are not being victimized. Rather, many who have been terminated were abusing their contracts with the government. In regional news, the United Nations Human Rights Office says it is essential that legal proceedings and investigations against individuals associated with former Haitian President Jean-Claude Duvalier continue despite his death last weekend. A spokesperson in the Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights said while all the crimes were obviously not committed by Duvalier himself, it was imperative that the perpetrators of all abuses be brought to trial. Office of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights noted serious human rights violations, including torture, rape, and extrajudicial killings dating to the period spanning 1971 to 1986, the years when Duvalier was in power, have been extensively documented by Haitian and international human rights groups. Earlier this year, Haiti's Court of Appeal reversed a January 2012 decision that stated that the 63-year-old leader could not be charged with crimes against humanity, which occurred during his reign, because of the statute of limitations had expired. After 25 years of living in exile, Duvalier's return to Haiti in 2011 spurred victims and civil society organizations to seek justice for abuses committed during his 15 years in office. Cuba hosted a 2-week training to prepare its health workers to fight Ebola in West Africa. CNN's Patrick Upman has the details.
Cuban health workers suit up to fight Ebola. Right now, it's just practice, but soon they will be facing the real thing. This medical institute in Havana is the island's Ebola boot camp, providing a grueling 2-week training course before workers head to the front lines of the epidemic in Africa. This is where the Cuban doctors and nurses practice treating patients infected with Ebola. They have to repeat these procedures again and again because the slightest mistake in the field could have fatal consequences. Already, 165 health workers from the island have been sent to West Africa, with close to another 300 soon to join them. All are volunteers, officials say. For at least 6 months, they plan to treat people infected with Ebola. Before they go, they learn how to put on and take off 7 different pieces of protective equipment, leaving no gaps where Ebola could enter. Despite the training, officials say, they will be in constant danger. We've instructed them so that they will not get sick, but they are at great risk, he says. It is our hope that none of them do get sick. We have the conviction that perhaps a few will fall ill, but the majority will not. The peril they face, Dr. Osmani Rodriguez says, will force them to stay focused.
To be afraid is not a big problem. I think that being afraid will help us to protect even more against that viral disease. Because if we feel that we are so sure about everything we are going to do every day, it may be more dangerous than being afraid of the disease.
Cuba is, by its own government's admission, a poor and small country, but it has taken the lead in fighting Ebola.
And we hope that Cuba example will probably take the scare that's behind going to work in West Africa. Probably people would be a little bit less scary and accept this health challenge to go and provide assistance to the African population.
Internationally, in the United States of America, a federal court overturned same-sex marriage bans in Idaho and Nevada, effectively making gay marriage legal in those 2 western states.
Same-sex marriage is coming to 2 more western states. A federal appeals court declared gay marriage legal in Idaho and Nevada on Tuesday.
When we took the case, I was fairly certain that we would never win in the state of Idaho.
In Las Vegas, the world's self-proclaimed wedding capital, Nevada State Senator Kelvin Atkinson celebrated by proposing to his partner.
Will you marry me?
The ruling came from the 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, which said that gay couples' equal protection rights were violated by voter-approved bans in both states. The court rejected the argument that same-sex marriages devalue traditional marriage or lead to out-of-wedlock births.
Most closely relates to estate planning and end-of-life decisions and all of those things, and taxes that come with a marriage license. So, you know, we plan on being really old ladies together, and we don't want to have to worry about that.
It just kind of felt like second-class citizens to us. It kind of felt like, we were second-rate, and we just, we wanted to be married. We wanted to share this with our family and friends.
Couples in Idaho can start getting married immediately. The county clerk's office that includes Las Vegas says it will start accepting same-sex marriage license applications on Wednesday. Sandy Kozel, The Associated Press.
British doctor Oliver Johnson works at an Ebola treatment center in Sierra Leone. He explains the strain of caring for patients who he knows will almost certainly die. We hear more in this report.
My name's Dr. Oliver Johnson. I'm a British doctor leading a King's Health Partners team out in Connaught Hospital in Freetown, Sierra Leone. Every day we're seeing more cases, and our challenge now is that our unit's full. And so it's becoming to the point where we're having to turn cases away or find other units for them. And so it's this urgent need to increase bed capacity. About a month ago, the WHO said there might be 20,000 dead, and at the time I thought, impossible. And suddenly people are talking about, worst case scenario, more than 1 million deaths in West Africa, which is just, for those of us who thought at the beginning maybe this will be 100 or 200 cases, it's mind-blowing. We could end up seeing more cases a day than we have seen in total in the last 6 months. Lots of my experiences here have been doing things that as a doctor go completely against what I would expect. You see a patient collapse, then in Britain I would rush over and do, basic life support. Here, until I'm fully suited up, I've got to assume that patient might have Ebola. I can't even go near them. There are moments where, when we've been completely full, we've had to, with the government, close the accident and emergency department for a few hours. To see, mothers with young kids coming, desperately sick, crying, begging, but to know that if we don't take this step now, if we don't close the department, then the whole hospital could become overwhelmed. So it's a series of impossible choices we're having to make that just scream against what our instincts are as health workers. What's remarkable is that a lot of patients come in and you come in the morning and they are talking, they're a little bit weak and a little bit tired, but they're talking okay, and then by the evening they're pretty confused and pretty frustrated, and then by the following morning you come in and they're dead. And it's pretty difficult, I think, for all of us, all the health workers here, day in, day out, to be seeing so many patients who are dying. We don't normally have many survivors, but we've had a few, and there are a few particular patients that often still come back now that they're survivors to say hello to us, and that's been really important for us as health workers, to know that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and that if we can get in early with treatment and we can provide the right kind of support, then they can make it, and in the face of what's really the horror of a lot of death and poor outcomes.
Now the weather. Today's skies will be partly cloudy with temperatures reaching a high of 30 degrees and a low of 24 degrees. Winds will blow from the east-northeast at 6 miles per hour. Tonight's skies will be cloudy along with intermittent showers. Sunset will be at approximately 5:52 p.m. That's it for ZIZ Midday newscast. Join us at 6:30 and 7 p.m. for the evening news. Thank you for joining us. I'm Carla Berridge.